All right, guys, it's your old buddy James O'Brien here. I've been asked a billion times to maybe give some tips and pointers on, cleaning and pressing books because I've done, just don't even know how many books I've cleaned and pressed through the years. It's in the thousands upon thousands, I know that much. I could probably do some math and get a vague idea, but we'll just leave it at that. But one of the things that I do is I always have a clean surface. I call it a sterile environment. I always wash and clean my hands thoroughly before I even begin. You can use gloves, which a lot of times, depending on the book itself, I will actually use gloves. If it's a mega key, something like that, that's very, very sensitive to the touch, that will leave some fingerprints. If you have those excess oils on your fingers, you have to be mindful of that kind of thing. This book, as you can see, is dirty along the edge, along the spine edge. I'll move that a little closer. You can see right over here and up top over here on the sides, everything else. So I'm going to give this a good cleaning. So I always grab actually two boards. These are actually Golden Age size boards. They're going to be, as you can see, nice and white. And I will always put, do this one here. I will always put one underneath the cover on the side that I'm going to start working, and I want to butt it all the way to the edge of the inside of the spine there. And this one is very important as well. This one will be your edge as well as your brace point for your hand to lay on, because you have your oils and such on the side of your hands. You can transfer the dirt and grime from the book to different areas. Plus, there's natural moisture coming off your skin, so it can cause different things to happen, like some rippling and such. So you'll have to press it again. I always use this eraser here. This is a Moo eraser, professional eraser, Moo eraser. Comes in a 2-pack from Hobby Lobby. You can get them online as well. Order them. But it's $2.99 for the twin pack, and they are amazing. I've been using different things through the years, but this has by far been my favorite. They're usually, a little bit bigger, but I've been using this one for a while, and I'm going to continue to do so right here. So I'm going to place my hand firmly onto the board here, and as you can see, I have just the white area showing here. Now remember one thing: you want to take it easy and do things steady and slow so that you don't rip or anything like that. As you can see, I'm coming towards my body. You can do it like this. There's several ways you can do this, but I always say this: keep a tight push on the board, so it doesn't allow for any kind of bunching or anything like that. You want to make sure that you add a little bit of pressure to the actual eraser itself. As you go through, you will clean up any of that dirt and grime that is happening on the book or that has been present on the book. And as you go along, it's going to clean up real nice. It's already coming off good. You're going to have all these little erasings that show up, which is actually why you get yourself a very nice art horsehair brush. These are amazing. You can also pick this up online or at your Hobby Lobby, probably even at Michael's or one of the other places, but I always get the supplies over at Hobby Lobby because it's right up the road from me and I can pick it up pretty easily. So, just saying. Anyways, I'm going completely down the edge of the spine. I'm still continuing to add pressure to the backer board that's on top as my divider. The reason we do that is because of the oils on our skin, not to mention want to have that pressure so I don't actually bind and crimp while I'm cleaning. You can run along the edge like so. It's different on how you run it, but you always want to be very, very careful with how you're presenting the eraser to the paper, because you don't want to go over a rip and then you rip off a piece. So I would suggest for you guys you go much slower than I'm going, because well, I've done this for years and years, so I'm very used to running along. I know what flaws to look for to stay away from, avoid being very, very careful around it. And if this book has one, I'll show you guys as I get to it. Rips and tears, you can already see the amazing difference there based on the darkening here and the light here. So we're going to move our board to cover this part of the edge because it was offset a little bit, so we're going to go there. And again, we're going to get all of that nasty grime from years and years of accumulation of being either stored in a box without a bag and board, or through lots and lots of reading and such through the years. So you just got to be very steady with what you're doing, applying pressure on my left side while dragging my eraser across. As you get to the top, you want to continue to go basically with the grain of the paper, going up like that so that I don't bind coming back down this way. I can pinch the top of the page there, and then I can have some problems like a rip or just needing to be repressed if you've already pressed it. A lot of people will say, well, do you press first? You clean first. It's an entirely up to you process. If you want to press first, get all the books done, and then start cleaning, okay, that is totally fine. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't mean to make the video all crazy there. But you want to make sure that you have your process in place. I'll do it either or. I'll do a cleaning first and get a bunch of books ready to throw on press, or I will press or clean after they've been pressed so that I know. See, you can see a huge difference right there. So we can actually use our board to get these edges in here. So you just want to run your eraser throughout there. I have another tool that I love to use, and it is also picked up online or at Hobby Lobby. It is actually an eraser that you can sharpen, used for my tight lines and stuff, so I can hit these areas right in here if I wanted to. You can actually get in there without causing any issues along the words and different points in the cleaning process. Usually when your erasers are brand new, they have great points on them, so you can actually hit those areas without any kind of issues. But I know what I am doing, so I can get in these areas without the eraser even affecting any other part, because I know where my points are and different things like that. Take it easy. Again, do not cause yourselves a heartache because you rush through the process. You will cause yourself a lot of drama and damage to your book if you rush. So take it easy. I can get through these a lot quicker, but again, that's years and years of doing this, and I wanted to make sure that I show a slow and steady so that you guys can see. So I will rotate it, go to the bottom, and start working on my bottom edge. Again, very nice clean edge here. I can go down off the page. That's why we have the larger board, so it can go right onto the board. And that's a very, very important thing, because if you know comic books, you know that the covers can be a different size than the pages underneath it. So then you'll actually roll the edge of the top cover, the bottom cover, and possibly flake off any of the edges exposed, things like that. So there's a lot of issues you got to watch out for. So right now I'm actually going over a stained area of the book. It won't take off the stain, obviously, but it will clean out the dirty areas. Now you got to be careful on this, because believe it or not, a lot of times the stained areas can be a lot more fragile. They can actually end up being thinner paper area, so you really do want to just take it easy. So I've got a lot less pressure, and that's why I'm going over it multiple times, because I'm trying to just drag the eraser rather than force it down. I don't want to flake off the edge or cause any kind of pinch or anything like that. So I'm taking it really easy, because again, it can be an area of the paper that is a little thinner than the other areas because of that staining. It can be brittle, cause yourself lots of issues, and if you drag too heavy, then you will see a nightmare scenario where you actually do pull off some of the page. I have not done it because I've always taken it very easy, but I actually had somebody else do it one time while they were doing some work, and I did not warn them on purpose because I was training them, and it was one of my really torched reader copies that I just let them work on to kind of give them an idea of what to expect. And of course they freaked out. They were like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Don't worry about it. It's truthfully, I knew it was going to happen, and I kind of set that whole scenario up to happen, and just to show you the horrors of what can be done if you're not familiar with the process." So continuing along, continuing to clean up the edge, easy doing it, putting on a little more pressure out here because it's not as thin and the paper is fine. I can feel it's got a lot of supple areas to the paper, if you will. So very nice, coming off good and looking great. So my tools of preference, the Moo eraser, as you can see I'm using it right now, does create a little bit of a debris, if you will, but that's why you have this sterile board here. I actually picked this up. It's a drafting board. I picked it up at Hobby Lobby. I believe I paid like $20, I want to say. So it's what my preference is. I used to actually have a different surface that I would use, but it got so dirty and nasty with time that I ended up picking up this and using this. So very nice and white, very sharp. I can go back down here, clean up this exposed white area here. Now I will go in between the words, which I won't do at this time because I want to make sure that I just show you guys the difference of what it was versus now after I'm done. Just run through here. Remember, you guys need to take your time and add a little bit of extra cover for those areas so you don't take off some of the words, the ink, different areas. Just take your time. Me, again, I'm kind of going a little faster than I should showing you guys because I want to make sure that I get through it, but at the same time, remember, going like this, real steady across, is more what you want to be doing while you're first approaching the process of cleaning a book. There are going to be some that have new tricks that you're going to have to figure out, and that's going to be stuff like things like where there's an exposed tear or anything like that on the book. Be extra careful. Never run your eraser with any kind of pressure on it around those, because you can absolutely just flake off an entire little piece of paper from the book. So Just avoid most areas that have major splits or tears if you can for your first time doing this, because you will absolutely pull off pieces of that cover if you don't know what you're doing. So, tools of choice: 2 Golden Age backer boards, one for underneath the cover, one for over the top to rest your hands on. And of course the Moo eraser for all your heavy lifting, so to speak. The pencil with the eraser inside that can actually be sharpened, so you can get those extra fine areas of the book. And then of course your horsehair brush, so you can clean off all the excess debris from the book itself. And then once you actually clean off all areas with the horsehair, I would recommend you run your hand kind of, gently brushing almost on the cover, so you can fill those little tiny pieces that might be just stuck on there that you don't see. Because when you press it, you can press that in while you're doing it. So just, give it a once over. Again, you should be going like this, not across like I was doing. I have a different touch to what I'm doing, so I am used to it. I know what I'm doing. You should not go and use the method I was doing. So I'm going to continue to do it this way to show you guys the more appropriate way so that it stays safe. Notice I'm continuing to pull the eraser towards me so that I have complete control on how hard I'm pushing down on top. I am applying pressure, quite a bit of pressure actually, just so that it does not move on me. I do not want to pinch and cause bend marks that cannot be pressed out, because you will cause those permanent color breaking bend marks if you're not careful and you don't apply enough pressure on top. So just again, be careful. Slow and steady is key. Again, I'm moving through it a little bit faster than you would. You'll probably, on your very first book that's dirty, it can take you up to 25-30 minutes for one book. That's not an exaggeration. I can tell you that is based on something that you're going to be unsure of yourselves, which is fine. Rather slow and steady and do it right than fast and in a hurry and rip up your book or cause major color damage or color breaks, things of that nature, or erasing words from the ink being old and just wiping right off the page. Yes, that can happen, so be careful with that. But this is an easy process, just very time consuming. I can do so easily that I actually binge watch a lot of shows while I'm doing this, because I've done the process. It's almost automatic for me now. Alright, we're finishing up here. Once I get to this other corner, I'm actually going to continue to have the force as I'm going off the page. That's the way I'm going, because if I was to come towards me in this point, I can actually cause that bind again. So if I was coming this way, I can cause this to curl over, and I don't want to do that. So there you go, guys. There is a cleaning and pressing process. Here's my, just so you can see it, here's my pencil with the eraser. I can get in these really tight spots. Great tool for you guys. As you can see, very easy to run through these real tight spots. And a lot of these older Silver Age books, this is key tool for you guys to have, because there's some dirt and grime stuck between these words, and so works out fine for me. I'm used to using this one and just fine, does not cause any problems, but I know where my edge is. So there you go, guys. I hope that helped you guys out. If not, I you know, have no problem giving you guys tips again in the future. But that is how you clean a comic. Obviously, whenever I flip it, I would take out my board, flip the book over, put it back in, making sure that my surface has maintained its sterile surface. So I'd brush away the extra debris, because once you flip the book, you don't want it laying down on all these erasings that you had on your board. So clear that out of the area, flip the book, and you're good to go. Again, this is James O'Brien helping you clean your comic books. And if you do it right, you're going to have some beautiful results. As you can see, the edge is completely cleaned up, the top, the sides, and in between there. And it was an easy process to get through. So just take it easy. Know what you're working with. Check for splits and tears so that you don't hit those areas too heavy and just flake those areas right off your page, because you will do that. Horsehair brush for sweeping. Pencil with the eraser inside. Moo eraser. Moo erasers, 2-pack, $2.99 at Home Depot or at Hobby Lobby. Golden Age backer board. And that is it for me, guys. I hope that is very helpful. And I do not offer services of cleaning and pressing anymore, just throwing that out there. But I will absolutely give tips where I can. So until the next time, you guys have yourselves an amazing day. And thank you all for tuning in and checking out my video. Have a great day. Give me a thumbs up. Follow me, all that good stuff. Peace out, everybody.